Hello, listeners. My name is Charles Scott, and we're here again this fine day. We're talking about current events and some of the issues that are going on that may affect you in your daily life as far as the economy and also with real estate. I'm here with Charles Scott Jr.
How you guys doing? Thanks for tuning in. And every week, we're here every Monday and on demand on Facebook and TikTok.
We've been in business. I'll give you a little bit about our bio if you haven't tuned in previously. Some new people are starting to tune in, telling their friends. I've been in the business now going on 38 years, and we have offices throughout the state of Connecticut for real estate, and we're looking to encourage people out there to tune in so they can get some education. We talk about current issues. We talk about what's happening within the economy. Today we're going to talk a little bit about what has happened in the past week and how it will affect your life, whether you are buying, whether you own, whether you rent. All of these things will affect you indirectly. So that's one of the things we'll talk about today and maybe enlighten you a little bit further. And I'm here with my son, Charles Scott Jr.
And I was going to say not only indirectly but directly, because people realize they see on the news, it may go in one ear and out the other, they see about these interest rates or increase. So that affects what people that own houses, mortgages. But you got to realize your landlord has a mortgage. He has a mortgage on that three-family house you're living in, whether you're on the second floor, third floor, or the first floor. Now, remember, if his, let's say, property taxes go up, his payments go up, maybe when you renew your lease next year, he may push that cost off to you.
One of the things that interests me this week, I was reading an article, and it was talking about how the dollar stores are having troubles surviving.
Yes.
And, I always was under the impression that when times get hard, dollar stores make a lot of money because you can't go no lower than the dollar store. People, and the dollar stores have started selling some of everything. So I'd like to break it down as to how it would relate to you out there and the public, because who doesn't know about a dollar store now? I remember years ago when they first came on existence, people said, oh, dollar's cheap merchandise, they don't have that much but a lot of knickknacks. But dollar stores sell anything now, from groceries to milk to bread.
Oh yeah, definitely. Dollar stores are opening on every other corner. I mean, especially what we call food deserts, parts of the city where there's not a large grocery store or big chain. These dollar stores actually supplement that need.
Last year, when the inflation kicked in, the dollar stores went from $1 to $1.25.
Yes.
They started charging more money for their items. Very few of the items sell for $1 anymore. And I said to myself, basically, well, they're going to make money. But I was reading this week, and I'm going to relay that out to you. Even at going up 25% on their prices, they're still having trouble because one of the things you don't realize is that their rent, where they rent those big stores, that has gone up.
Yeah.
The supply chain, just them being able to get merchandise.
Yeah, the freight costs, the labor to unload the truck, everything goes up.
And a lot of their merchandise, all made in China, comes from China. And you know what happened there. We couldn't get, too many supplies from China.
Exactly. The supply chain was backed up.
Right. And China doesn't have just cheap goods. China supplied all of the chips that went into all of the expensive automobiles. iPhones, you name any luxury item out there. China has dominated that market for supplies and coming across the ocean. Remember how backed up everything was, and it's still backed up.
Yeah, even though you think about it, when you don't see stuff on the news, doesn't mean it was resolved. It's just the news has moved on to the next trending item. I'm sure they're having plenty of issues still at Los Angeles stock.
So what's happening now is that the dollar stores are having problems getting merchandise, and they've raised their prices, but their profits have dropped a lot, and so they have to even lay people off. So that's one of the things that you have to look at, and one of the things that we try to put out there so you can understand it and put it in basic terms, which is one of the things that I wanted to talk about today. And every week we talk about what has happened in the past week.
Yeah.
In the past week, the jobs report came out.
Exactly. Now let me explain that. People realize when you see on the news, they say the job numbers are strong. Big numbers that just came out recently. And for someone that may be a novice or not really pay attention, they say, oh, that's good. More jobs, people employed, people working. But you have to realize in this economy we're in right now, the inflation, in order for the Federal Reserve to get a cap on inflation, I'll say a control of the inflation, they have to get these job numbers down. Because when there's less jobs, people have less money to spend, which means the inflation can actually cool off. So at this point, it's like we have the stove on and we're turning it even higher. So think of the opposite when you hear that news about job report.
He's 100% right. You would think that when people get a lot of jobs, everybody would be happy, that the investors would all be happy. But, you know, it's how I explain it is that, let's say you're making $100,000 in profit, and you're a business owner, and you have 5 employees. So 5 employees, you're making $100,000 in profit, and now all of a sudden the wages go up, everything goes up, and instead of 5 employees, you have to lay off one of those employees. So now you lay off one of the employees, and in order to keep your profits going, that means the 4 remaining employees have to work harder.
Exactly.
So now, instead of the 5 employees sharing the work, you share it with 4 employees. So now you're still making the same profit, you're just making everybody work harder.
Exactly.
Now, so to an employer, he doesn't have to hire as many employees, and he's still making the same amount of money. So the investors, they like that. They like it. They like investors, believe it or not, stock market. They like it when people get laid off.
Oh, they love that
because they feel as though we're going to make the same profits, but with less money going out.
Exactly.
So we will make even more money. So when you see where a record amount of people got jobs, investors say, oh, that's not good. That means we got to hire more people to do the same thing. We're going to make less money. So when you see where a lot of people get laid off, actually investors go to companies where companies are laying people off in many cases because that means the profits are going to be stronger.
Oh, yeah, exactly. I mean, for example, there was a company recently in the news, they fired 9,000 employees. Next day, the stock went up because they were saying, oh, wow, those 9,000 employees, although they lost their jobs, the profit still looks good.
And there's 2 in particular. Number 1 was Amazon.
Oh, okay.
Amazon, even though they're such a large employer, they were shutting down some of their, not shutting down, but reducing some of their workforce. And the other one, believe it or not, was Elon Musk, Tesla. They were reducing some of their employees.
Exactly.
So we just want you to understand that when you see where record amount of jobs are created, that sounds good, and that's a good sound bite for the politicians because the president and the politicians, they're saying, oh, the economy's just rolling along. But in a sense, if that was the case, then why is the Federal Reserve so concerned in raising interest rates?
Exactly.
It seems as though the Federal Reserve would say, oh, that's a great thing. We're going to lower the interest rates. Things are just fantastic. So when you see where a lot of people are getting jobs, and it states that Jerome Powell or the Federal Reserve, they're like frowning and they're saying, no, you know, this doesn't look good. We're going to have to go up on the interest rates, because if we go up on the interest rates, then that's going to mean that the goods are going to cost more, and then the employers will start laying people off.
Exactly. Now, I was not to interrupt you, but also with this interest rate going up, you got to realize, I mean, it's not such a bad thing when it comes to the first-time home buyer, because remember, if you wait, I hear this every day, I'm going to wait till next year when interest rates are lower, 2 years. Some people say they may not lower for another 10 years, but when they do go lower, who else do you think is going to be looking for a house? Everybody else who's been waiting for those interest rates to go lower. And then we're back to the bidding wars, overpaying for the house.
Prices go up.
Prices go up. So what would you rather have, an overpriced house or a high interest rate that and down the line you can refinance?
And for a lot of the people out there that are sitting on the side talking about they're going to wait and wait and wait for things to happen, remember the rents are not going down.
Oh, those aren't waiting.
So you're putting money out of your pocket that you have to put out there anyway.
Yes.
And the longer you wait, the more interest goes up and the more rent you pay. So it's better to be able to be an informed buyer, listen to what we're trying to tell you,
Yes.
go out there, get into it, and get some good value, get a good real estate agent that can get you a property that's good value, going to make you some good interest on your money, an investment,
Exactly.
and put you in a home that's going to grow. Remember, as everything else grows, if you're sitting into a rental, your income is going down because you're paying out more money, so you're going downhill. If you get out there and the price of the houses are going up and you get a house, well, now you've gotten into the game because not only is the price of the house going up, but your price of your house is going up.
Exactly.
Your house is, now you're on the wagon, you're on the train.
Yeah, people don't realize sometimes when, for example, in this, I'm going to say it might be a once-in-a-lifetime thing. These homeowners who bought right before COVID, the amount of equity they received from 2020 to 22, just astounding. 40% increases, 50%. So what you're seeing is they moved in there. Their house made more money than them. Even if they were a doctor working in ER, making 150K, hey, the house still outperformed them.
We have several cases where we sold homes before COVID. One in particular we just closed last week, where the gentleman 3 years ago, going back, they purchased the home, and now they make $100,000. They have $100,000 in profit because what happens, you buy and then the value of the house goes up. We have some individuals that bought multifamily house, and the value has gone up. Now, in a situation like that, if this is your only home, it's a different story. But you have an individual that owns a house and then bought an investment property, and then sold that investment, now looking to buy another investment property.
Very true.
So you've got to look at different situations and also be able to feel how you can jump into the game, how you can get out there. What I do see happening is where people are starting to join together.
Yeah, we're seeing that a lot.
Families are starting to come together. That's a good thing.
Very good.
Maybe you can explain to them what's creating that, what's causing that.
Well, you see out there right now with the interest rate going up and people's income, when the interest rate goes up, when you go to let's say a mortgage broker or your local bank, they're going to pre-qualify you and then pre-approve you for a certain amount of money. But remember, let's say you're pre-approved for $300,000, interest rate goes up just a little bit, you may be approved for $275,000. So when those go up, people may say, wow, I need more buying power. Let me call my sister, my aunt, uncle. Maybe they can join in with me. Maybe they're tired of paying rent too. And let's say, for example, let's say we had, like last year, we had a mother and a daughter. No, it was a son and a mother. They got together. They bought a two-family house. He lives on the second floor. She lives on the first floor. The family's there. And, hey, the rent's not going to go up. That mortgage is fixed, 30 years. And now they can build wealth and equity.
Even in that one, it was even a better situation because remember the house had a first floor, second floor, and had an attic.
Finished attic.
So the finished attic. So they converted the finished attic as actually two brothers and a mother.
Yep, exactly.
So the mother is able to live in the house, and then one brother on the first floor, one brother in the attic, because in the attic apartment, it's not considered a separate apartment. It's an in-law setup, and basically a second and third floor. So it's a perfect situation where they're all separated, paying different rents, and now all of a sudden they've got their own property that they can live in. So,
I remember, not to interrupt you, but when you own that property, remember, you are the landlord, as our New Yorkers say, you're the super. You have to make sure that everything's okay in that house as far as go downstairs every now and then, make sure the hot water heater isn't leaking, make sure the circuit breaker's working. Because remember, you have to maintain the house as far as houses need maintenance. I'll say every month, something may break. But that's okay because guess what? You can fix that and not worry about your rent going up. As far as your landlord, if he has a big repair, let's say he doesn't fix it. I got a few phone calls. People have landlords that are, in Canada?
Yep.
They own properties in Bridgeport?
Sure.
They haven't fixed anything.
One of the things that's driving the market now, or I should say not driving the market, one of the issues that we have is inventory.
Yes, inventory.
We are, and I say we, that is the industry, the real estate industry itself.
Yes.
We're desperately right now looking for properties and inventory to sell.
Yes.
So if there's a property out there where you have that you're tired of managing, you've had it for a long time, Maybe you want to retire. Maybe you want to move to another city, to another state where the prices are less. We're in Connecticut. In Connecticut, properties are pricey. So maybe you're retiring and you don't have enough money in your pension. You haven't put aside enough money to retire. And so look at this situation. You're retiring and the taxes have all gone up. The expenses have gone up. The water,
utilities,
the sewer, the maintenance. Maybe you're in your 60s or 70s or 80s and the house needs maintenance and there's repairs that have to be done on that particular property. And rather than sit there and just watch things deteriorate, because what happens is it's a cause and effect, a boomerang. If you don't make the repairs, if you don't fix the house up, then the tenants don't pay you. Now the tenants don't pay you. That means now you got less money to fix the property up.
Exactly.
So the property starts spiraling out of control. Things start going downhill because now you're going there every month trying to collect the rent, and the tenant's saying, I need you to fix this. The pipe broke, or this, or maybe there's a hole in the roof, or maybe there's some mice running around. You're deferring the maintenance of the property, and you're not fixing things.
Exactly.
So now it's affecting not only the money you're getting from your tenant, but it's also affecting your insurance, because the insurance company comes in and says, oh, you got to fix the steps.
You got to fix everything there.
You got to fix the stairs. You got to get a permit. You got to do this. You got to do that. And you're saying, well, I don't have any money. So in a situation like that, you're probably better off, if you can, get an idea of what the property is worth.
Yes.
One of the free services that we offer is called a market analysis.
Yes, CMA.
CMA, competitive market analysis. I did several of those over the weekend. There's no fee. It doesn't cost you anything to get an idea of what is your house worth. What is the value of that property?
Exactly. Now, people may say, well, I can go to a realtor, or I can just go on Zillow. I can open my phone. But remember, those estimates, take them with a grain of salt. Sometimes they may not be as accurate as they could be. You want a realtor who can look at the comparable sales from that week or that day and then see what your house will be worth. So
you can give us a call, and what I do is I come out to the house, and we look at the interior of the house. We give you also some suggestions and some things that you can do that will improve the value of the house without costing you a lot of money.
Exactly.
A lot of people make mistakes when they start looking at fixing up their homes. They want to go all out and spend a ton of money, which is unnecessary, because you may not even get back the money you put into the property.
Exactly.
You know, a person may say, well, I'm going to put a new hot water heater in.
Or how about this, remodel the bathroom, the kitchen? Not needed.
Not needed. Not needed. Normal repairs, yes. Suggestions, yes. We can give you suggestions of some things you can do. Don't rip out the entire bathtub to replace the bathtub. Reglaze the bathtub.
There you go, reglaze it.
There's a kit that they have. You mix the two components, and you get a very thin applicator, and you put it across the bathtub. You let it wait 2 days, and it's just as shiny and as brand new.
Very true.
And you didn't take and pull out anything. You didn't replace any plumbing.
Nope.
And you can get it at Home Depot, Lowe's, company like that. And you can even change the color. You can have a nice light blue bathtub, a beige, white. So you can change things. Also, you can put in tiles. You can put in new tiles.
I would say that also. And people may think of those tiles that require cement and the shellac and everything. We're talking about the sticker tiles, which you can get, at a local discount store. There's plenty of different colors. You peel off the back, you stick it right down. They look great.
They look great. Same thing for the flooring. You can either put how big is a bathroom?
Yeah, exactly.
3 feet by 5 feet. 3 times 5, that's 15 square feet. You can get the nice marble tiles, and you can put the nice marble tiles down over the old. That's
one thing. Don't rip up the old floor. Just
no.
Put it on top.
Put it on top. You get what they call a luan.
Luan, yes.
That's a wood base. You put a nice level wood base. You put down the tiles.
Yes.
And boom! Look you got a nice shiny bathtub. You got a nice marble floor. You got tile around there. And if you have to, get a new vanity.
Yeah.
A vanity only costs you, the cheapest, $100.
Yep.
Nice shiny vanity with a nice bowl, and then you buy the utensil to go on the top there, the faucet. Boom, there's your bathroom. Paint it. You spent less than $1,000, if $500, and you got a nice looking bathroom.
And I was gonna say, if you hire us for a CMA, we'll show you how it works. 'Cause some people may just turn the water off there. Remember, if you go in the basement, turn the water off to the whole house before you take that vanity off.
Right.
If not, the water will be sprayed in your bathroom.
We'll give you an idea as to how you can do that.
Yep.
Now, what a lot of people make a mistake on doing is they go out and they hire a contractor. The contractor comes in and says, oh, we got to rip out this, we got to rip this out, we got to rip all that, which they could, hey, they're not going to come up there for you just to spend $500.
Oh, no.
They'll charge you that just to go look at the job.
They're going to ask you, well, what financing do you use? There's going to be a big job.
We'll charge you $10,000 which you could spend $10,000, but I'm just saying that you're not going to be able to increase the house by $10,000. Spend what you have.
Exactly.
Look at it this way. You may go and spend a lot of money changing the color, putting all of these things in. What if the next person comes along and doesn't like what you did and says, well, I don't like this color. I don't like that. All that money you spent in your head, because I see so many people make mistakes where they fix something up to what they like, but that doesn't mean the buyer likes
it.
So in essence, you might, and there's nothing worse than someone fixing something up and is stubborn in their mind that they want to get what they want to get because it looks nice to them. And people come and look at the house and they get outside, and the seller's there. Nothing worse than having the seller and the seller's, look at this, look at that, look at this. Oh, I did this myself. Oh, this is nice. Isn't this nice? And the buyers get outside and they say, ooh, I didn't like none of that stuff they did.
How about this? Or how about when you fix up the bathroom, you fix up the kitchen, you spend thousands of dollars, but when I look out the outside of your house, your mailbox is crooked, your grass is overgrown. Work on the outside. You want them to come in the house.
Curb appeal.
You got to have some curb appeal.
These are the ideas that we give you.
Yes.
So like I said, even if you're not planning on selling right now, get an idea of what your house is worth. We will come out, we will look at the house, we will do a market analysis. It's about 15 pages. We'll show you what the neighbor, you want to be a little nosy? We'll tell you what the neighbors' houses are worth and what the neighbors are selling their homes for. And what they did to their homes. We can even show you the inside pictures of the neighbors' houses, because if they listed it. And we will give you an idea, and this is something that you can gauge, because now you figure out how much of a mortgage do you owe. Figure out how much of a mortgage do I owe, how much rent am I getting, how much rent will I get in the next 10 years if I keep this property?
Exactly.
And what will my expenses be if I keep this property?
One thing I always run into people that want to become landlords, they want to buy 2 families, 3 families. When you do that math, I'll say I can tell if you're a novice investor or an expert. When you take that rent and times it by 12, unless you're a perfect landlord, you're not going to have full vacancy as far as full rentals. I would say you have some vacancy months where you have to factor that in. Some months it's going to be empty. It's not going to produce any income. So I've never seen anybody factor that in. It's something you have to really take into consideration.
You're right. The inexperienced person, for example, if the rent is $1,000 a month, they figure, okay, I'm getting $12,000 a year. Now we look at forever. It does not work like that.
What happens if say your tenant loses their job? What if they break something in the house, want you to fix it? You don't fix it, now they're not paying you. So a lot of things could happen.
What if you get a tenant that doesn't pay any rent at all?
Oh, yes.
Now you got to factor in $2,000 for eviction, $4,000 and not getting any rent, the other money coming out of your pocket. So in other words, you have to be conservative. Even when a bank gives you money for a mortgage, they want to know how much income do you have coming out of that house. If you tell them I'm getting $1,000 a month, $12,000 a year, they won't use it because they know themselves that's not feasible.
Exactly.
They will say we'll give you 70% of that.
70%.
Because they will figure that you're just not going to get it nonstop constantly.
Exactly.
And look at it this way. If you have an apartment or someone has an apartment and they've been getting it consistently over 10 years, And if that's you out there, you're losing money.
Oh, yeah.
Why do I say that? Because anyone that stays in your apartment for a 10-year period is usually staying there because you're giving them a low rent.
Low rent.
And if you're giving them a low rent, that means you're not making any money,
Nope.
and you're just too intimidated to go up on the rent or ask them to leave. Or remember, it's a business. Everything is a business.
Yeah.
Because when you pay the rent, when you pay your mortgage and your taxes and your insurance and your water and your sewer and all those things keep going up and up and up, you have to figure it out in your accounting. I have to keep up with those things, because if you don't keep up with those things, then you're subsidizing the other expenses.
It's going to be a point where you're just breaking even or actually taking a loss. I've seen some people, they've called me, they've lived in the same apartment since 1998. That's 25 years ago.
That's right. So if you have a house out there and you're just breaking even or you're taking a loss and you're doing all that work, comes a point in time when it's about time for you to retire, a time for you to invest the money. Call us. Let us come in, give you an idea. What's this house worth? What are you doing?
Exactly.
Let us evaluate the finances. Let us give you a market analysis to show you, here's what's going to happen. Here's where you're going to be in 5 years. Here's where you're going to be in 10 years. Here's where you are right now. Where you're at right now, are you very comfortable, and is that what you want? So let us know. We come in, we do it. We're
Now, how much do we charge for this again? It's free.
Zero.
People may think that's a lot of work y'all doing. Well, we look at the market every day. We are experts on this, and it is free to get a CMA. We come to your house, we take pictures, we look at an analysis of the recent sales, and we give you a report, a 15-page report.
And remember, it's free. We do not charge you at all for that. What's our motive? Well, maybe in the future, if you decide to sell, you will use us. Or maybe because we've made your life a little easier, put more money in your pocket, you will recommend us to a friend or to another person and say, look, or maybe your daughter or your son is looking to buy a property, saying you need to talk to these people before you make that move. Remember, buying a house is usually the biggest investment you will make within your entire life. Do not jump into it or not go into it without going into it cautiously.
Now, if you have a buyer's agent, how much do you have to pay us? That's also free.
Free.
Remember, when you're on the buyer side, we're compensated by the seller side. So remember, this doesn't hurt to have a buyer's agent. That's knowledge that you can use to utilize your choices.
So, like I said, utilize our services. They're free. We do not charge you anything to give you a market analysis or give you an idea of where you can get ahead in life. So today, hopefully that segment there will be more knowledge for you, and you'll let other people know. Watch us on YouTube, watch us on Instagram, subscribe to our channel. And until next week, if you want to close out.
I would say, and in closing, remember, Time to Own program is still active right now in Connecticut. We've had a few closings. We're actually becoming experts on it. Give us a call, and we'll explain to you how it works. Until next time,
God bless.
Amen.